right, welcome everybody back to another episode of Lemon Branch Do It Yourself. Today we're working on some more wedding planning, some more wedding decorations, and I thought that we would just kind of throw this video together so that you can see kind of what we're doing to transport an old carport into an area that's going to become the dining room of our upcoming wedding. So first what we're doing, as you can see, I'm putting some fabric, just some white fabric, along the back wall. You can see this is just some old wood, just some 2x4s that are exposed. You can see on the top of the carport there, just the beams that are exposed, and obviously just because it's outside and it had some leaking, you can see they're kind of stained, and it's just kind of just plain and blah. But this is where it's an outdoor venue, and we are gonna try and transform this into where all of the tables and chairs are gonna go for all the guests when they're eating the food. So what we're working on here is we got some just plain white fabric, and I'm just using a regular staple gun, as you can see, to just staple this fabric up along the back wall. I'm stretching it pretty tight just so it lays nice and clean, and so we're just gonna go all the way across the back wall here, and you can see I'm putting in quite a few staples. This particular fabric, it's been used multiple times, so we weren't really too worried about putting holes in the sides of it. So the area where I'm working right now is actually going to be covered up with more fabric. So we have lots and lots of white fabric that we're planning on putting not only along the back wall, we're going to droop it along the ceiling, and so we're just kind of showing you the basic idea of what we're doing. So I'm kind of, just so you know how I'm putting this up, we started clearly on the one side, this side here, and I'm just working all the way across to make it nice and flat. So now what we're doing is we got another piece of fabric, and I'm going to begin the process of covering up the very top part of that, but I'm also going to use this as a drapery. So you can see this one is only about 3.5 feet wide, and so I'm just tacking it up along the top here, and you'll see here in just a minute how I start to put some swags in it, but I wanted to get it nice and tight first along the top rail. So you can see I started, but then I was worried that I was going to run out of room with this particular fabric, and then I wanted to make sure that I could get the swags exactly even. So I first ran it all the way across, and now I'm working in the middle where I'm bunching it up in the middle there, and then I just have a nail where I'm going to use a plastic tie wrap, and I'm going to tie that in the middle and then tack it in the middle, exactly the middle. So what we're doing is we're just kind of looking to see if it's level on both sides. This is kind of funny because we didn't have a measuring tape, nor were we were just too lazy to go get one. So he's just using his body, his chin, just to see, okay, I'll go in the middle and we'll see kind of where it's at. It doesn't have to be too scientific, but this is what he's doing. He's measuring it up. So he's like, oh, I think we need to pull up on this one side. So we'll use this technique to get this nice and
this is scientific. This is a mathematical.
So now I'm just
equation.
putting a plastic tie wrap up through a nail, and I'm just going to cinch it nice and tight there once we get it exactly where we want it to be. So then it's just basically repeating the process, going, from middle to middle to middle. So you can see once we got the middle on the right side, now I'm just taking, I have these beams up above, so I was able to just kind of count the beams, and that made it a little bit easier too. Okay, so once we got all of the separation for the different swags that we're going to do, I don't know what you call them, I'm just calling them a swag, but once we got those sections done, now what I'm doing, you can see on the right side the fabric I just kind of left bunched together. Well, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the one side of it and I laid it completely flat across that top beam. So then I stapled into place, and it gave us a natural swag there, and so that made that really easy and really effective to give us you know, that drapery look. But this is kind of what I was meaning, is I just take the one flat side of the swag, the fabric there, and I'm just going straight across, making it tight along that top beam. And like I said, the rest of the fabric just kind of naturally stays in that little you know, kind of like a hammock type swag. So that is really not that difficult to do. It's just making sure that you have your spacing right. And then this is kind of how it turned out all the way across. Now we're just finishing the last of this section. Okay, so now we've got the whole thing done. You get the idea of what we were trying to create now with just covering up that back piece. Okay, so now what we're working on is we laid out all of this other fabric. We were able to get this sheer fabric, and this is really cool fabric, but the trick to this is you can't staple it. So we had a bunch of different lengths that we weren't sure how wide some of them were. Didn't know how long some of them were. So thank goodness we had this big, huge yard to lay everything out. So we laid them all out first to see which ones we had that were the longest. So now what we're doing is we're starting to work on the ceiling of the carport. And you can see that I'm just drooping them kind of in that same way, just across the ceiling. Now, one thing that all I did is I just ran a cable in each of those right above the columns that are coming up. I just ran a cable straight across from each of those columns. So then all I did was just take the fabric and slide it up over all of those cables, and that's what's creating the ceiling. So now on the sides, I'm going to use the same exact technique where I'm just going to pull the side up here and try and create another swag along the side of the carport here. So I'm just bunching things up, and you can see it already created an instant swag. Super easy to do. Then I just take the wire ties again and zip it. So you can see kind of that cable now where I just kind of put it up and over the cable. The fabric is just laying there. Okay, so what we've done, after we got all the fabric up, now we're going to hang the lights. So the way we're doing the party lights, we had some power right here, which is really easy. So I'm just running an extension cord, or I just ran an extension cord up to this beam up here, and you can see how I've attached it kind of to the corner, and then I'm just matching, you know, kind of how the fabric is up to that corner. So how am I attaching the party lights? I found these really cool clips on Amazon. I will leave a link, but what's awesome about these too is it comes with an actual drill bit that you're able to put the hook into the drill bit, and then you can just use the power drill to get up and in there. So what I've basically been doing is I'm tacking it at each one of these beams, and then I'll do the natural to match the fabric. So the little swag is going to match the fabric. So I've already got one of these up there into the beam, and I'm going to just take the party lights, and like I said, everywhere that you want it to be high, just put the screw in, and then we'll match the fabric. This part is actually pretty simple. So let's go ahead and attach this. Now, if you're worried about it, I'll show you. If you're worried about being in between lights, I've got some plastic tie wraps that'll hold it into place. So these just kind of clip in right there. You want a little tighter maybe?
No, I don't think so.
About right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know, I'll look, but I think it's good.
Okay. So that's now into place, but notice that the light is on the other side. It's on the left side of this hook. I'm worried that it might pull down in wind or whatever, so I'm just going to take just a plastic tie wrap, and I'll just go around the hook and the wire here. Now that won't go anywhere. just take some pliers and clip off the end. And I'll just do that all the way along. Okay, this is kind of the progress that we're at now. So I got the lights, as you can see, along that back beam. I just kind of looped them with those fancy these clips right here. Let me see if I can zoom in so you can kind of see. That's those clips there. So then I brought the lights just up along the fabric like this, up to the front. And then I'm doing it straight across the front. Then eventually we're gonna have a bunch more fabric across the front here that's gonna match that back sway of the fabric in the back. So the front will have some more, and then I'll put another strand of lights that kind of swoop. But I just kind of did a straight across. And then these in here, I use those same exact clips. And we showed how we kind of put these hoops together. But the clips, I'll zoom into that there. I just have them go straight in and then just clip these on. Okay, so here's some more progress. So we were able to splice, or not splice, but just plug in the extra strand of light so it ended right there. And then I just put the new strand on, and we luckily, I don't know how we timed it, or I don't know how we got so lucky. It's like we planned this thing perfect, because the sway of that last strand made it all the way perfectly to the end. So that is all finished. Now what we'll do is we'll put the fabric up and match that swag of these front lights. Okay, so that is coming along really good. We got all the lights are up now. We just have the fabric left to do. This strand that goes across the top here, the buffet table, is gonna go underneath this. And those same hoops that are back there, I'm gonna add 3 more along this string here, just so we kind of match what's going on underneath there. And then out here we're gonna have lanterns, and I'll show you kind of what that looks like in the future. And then we have all the party lights back there that go across the ceiling and the sky, and we'll have more of the hoops back there with lanterns over the dance floor. So it is starting to come together. The wedding is exactly 1 week from today, so it does take a lot of time. You got to make sure that you're planning ahead so that you don't run out of time to get all of this stuff put together. But in front of this here, where the fabric, see how you can see up through the wood right there, which is like right there, we're gonna have more fabric out in front, so all that is going to be covered. So anyway, it's starting to look pretty good. Okay, so I'm just basically finishing up the fabric on the front here. I'm using the exact same technique that I used on the back wall, where you just take an edge of the fabric and you staple it tight against the beam,